The following clip you're about to see is a small excerpt taken from my exclusive show on Rumble called Lies You Can Trust. It's fully uncensored because Rumble does freedom of speech. You can check it out live every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. But for now, enjoy this clip. This just in, the NBA's ratings are down by 45%. Yes, you heard me right. The NBA's ratings are down by 45% since 2012. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not a mathematician, if you identify as number phobic and you're just literally scared of numbers, but you take that to mean you hate numbers, kind of like you're transphobic, which means you hate trans people. No. Phobic doesn't mean hate. It means fear, like arachnophobic means you're afraid of spiders, doesn't mean you hate spiders. But nonetheless, if you're number phobic, let me break this down for you real quick with the NBA. 45% less viewers. That means they have lost 45% of their viewers over the past 12 years. How have they worked so hard to do that? Well, when they're not having their spokesman like LeBron James, who just goes on TV, cries oppression. Meanwhile, people see the reality of you're saying you're oppressed. Your nickname is literally king and you're a billionaire and you're crying about how oppressed you are. And you are saying we should defund the police for us peasants while you have private security. Well, apparently spokesmen like King James, who's so oppressed, it's not necessarily doing the NBA any favors. And you think back to when the NBA had Black Lives Matter painted all over their courts. Awesome. They're doing the bidding of a Marxist communist organization whose founders just embezzle money. In other words, the virtue signaling league isn't doing so hot. Now, you might remember a wise man once said, everything that goes woke turns to shit. Or if you go woke, you go broke. Now, the NBA is out to prove that that's true. So not too long ago, I thought, why is the NBA's viewership down by 45%? I haven't been one to watch the NBA ever since I was a little kid. I don't like to waste my time watching sports. So, they didn't lose my viewership because they never had me in my adult years. So I wanted to get my thumb a little bit on the pulse of this. What has changed? Why are they losing viewers? Like losing 45% of your viewers when you're a major established sport. That is impressive. So I consulted my deep researching brain via ChatGPT, and it has this to say. The prompt is, what are the woke things the NBA has been criticized for? Social justice messaging, Black Lives Matter support. During the 2020 NBA season, restart in Orlando bubble, if we got to play games effectively with masks on, and, we'll be in Florida because nobody cares about COVID there, so we'll be safer. The league prominently displayed Black Lives Matter on courts and allowed players to wear social justice messages on their jerseys. Holy Lord, I can't believe that didn't increase viewership. Critics argued this overt support alienated fans who preferred politics to remain separate from sports. Yeah, next time have a little sport in your politics, NBA. It might work better. Political messaging. Players and teams have taken stances on issues like police reform, racial equality, and voting rights, with initiatives that some perceived as partisan or excessively activist. Now, here's an interesting thing. If you pay attention not to the NBA, but to the United States of America, the USA, which is the premier country league in the world, you might realize, wow, okay, activism, partisan politics. Anytime you do something on the left, as of late, you just lose people. It doesn't represent the will of the people, not the majority, not the vast majority, in my opinion. If they actually got partisan and were doing things on the right, like had pro-gun painted on their court, I wouldn't be surprised if their viewership went up. So it's not that they got partisan, it's that they got leftist. Communism. Let's get back at it. China controversies. Now let's not forget about this. The NBA, we're virtue signalers, okay? So it doesn't matter if Chinese slaves are making all the stuff we promote. It doesn't matter if we changed what we're going to say because we don't want to offend China and lose viewership. That doesn't matter because we're good people. Get those slaves back to work making our stuff. We're good people, okay? We're virtue signalers. So China controversies, handling of free speech issues. The NBA was criticized for its response to Houston Rockets GM Daryl Morey's 2019 tweet supporting Hong Kong protesters. You mean people that didn't want to be taken under communist dictatorship of China? How dare him? So the NBA literally criticized someone standing up for the freedom of people in Hong Kong who were about to have their freedom eroded by a Chinese communist dictator, Xi Jinping. The NBA took the side of the tyrants, not the people. Thus, they criticized the Houston Rockets GM. We'll get back to the video in a second, but first, here's a random question for you. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. Chuck Norris is in his 80s and still active and kicking butt like he's decades younger. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and still has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by making just one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s, and in fact, his wife was so impressed by this one thing, she started doing it too. She's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, she's leaner, and has plenty of energy. Now, to unveil the mystery, Chuck Norris made a video that explains everything. Be sure to watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/JP or click the link in the video description below. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/JP or click the link in the video description below. You will not believe how simple it is. And hey, just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old, yet has more energy than most 40-year-olds, maybe even including me. And he discovered he can make dramatic changes to his health by focusing on just 3 things that typically sabotage people as they age. Watch Chuck Norris's method by clicking on the link in the description below or go to chuckdefense.com/JP. Now back to our video. Critics accuse the league of prioritizing its financial interests in China over free speech and human rights advocacy. Just a little bit. Silence on China's human rights abuses. Well, they're not humans, they're Chinese, right? Here at the NBA, we're good people because we're virtue signalers, but they're not really people, are they? Some found it hypocritical that the league promotes activism on U.S. issues while appearing reluctant to criticize China's treatment of Uyghurs and other minorities. This just in, China has Uyghurs in concentration camps. LGBTQ plus advocacy. Throwback. This is great. In 2016, the NBA moved the All-Star game out of Charlotte in protest of North Carolina's bathroom bill, which critics argued was discriminatory against transgender individuals. So the NBA moved their All-Star game out of North Carolina because North Carolina passed a bill that said men can't go in women's bathrooms. The NBA said, we would like them to. So much so, we're literally going to move our All-Star game. Here at the NBA, we protect the predators against the innocent. Player and team activism, boycotts and protests. Teams boycotted games after incidents like the shooting of Jacob Blake in 2020. Some fans and commentators criticize this as virtue signaling or disruptive to the sport. It's not virtue signaling. The NBA's they're just principled, right? Get those Uyghurs back to work. We don't care. Comments by players. High-profile players like King LeBron James have spoken out on various social issues with exquisite intellect, I might add, and no hypocrisy, only integrity. Often receiving backlash for perceived double standards or politicizing basketball. Diversity initiatives, we're almost done, but we can't end without the diversity initiatives of the NBA. Coaching and management hiring policies. Efforts to promote diversity in hiring, such as encouraging teams to consider candidates of color for coaching and front office positions, have been praised by some, but criticized by others as focusing too much on identity over qualifications. And just so you know, the NBA, their players, I don't know the percentages, but it's certainly far more blacks than whites. And I'm not saying, well, hire whites to be players to get the diversity up. I'm just saying, they already cover a lot of non-whites, and then they're looking at management positions and it's still too white. Yeah. Does that make us look good? Okay. Still too white, says the white people at the NBA head office. Impact on fans. Critics argue these actions alienate fans who prefer sports as a form of escapism. Some have accused the NBA of losing focus on its core mission, entertaining through basketball by engaging in divisive political and social issues. I butchered that last part. It doesn't matter. I identify as literate even though I can't read, okay? It's a fact. I can read even though I don't know what words say. I don't even know what the letters say. I think the NBA needs to hear this message, ladies and gentlemen. A wise man summarizes very well, and he's not even speaking about the NBA directly, but he summarizes very well what I think is a prime reason why the NBA's viewership is down by 45%. And this wise man, ladies and gentlemen, goes by the name of Donald J. Trump. Here's what he had to say recently about what's hurting the NBA.
And woke has to stop, because along with everything else, it's destroying our country. We're going to stop woke. Woke is bullshit.
Woke has to stop. If someone gave the NBA that memo 12 years ago, they'd probably experience what other leagues experience, which is an increase of viewership, not decrease. Because to quote the great president, Donald J. Trump, woke is bullshit. And NBA, you have decided that you need to learn that lesson the hard way. And I want you to know, I'm not sorry about it, but it'd be cool if you learned it.